This is going to be a 30, 60, 90 triangle. 30 degrees is the small angle. It's opposite the small side. 60 degrees is the bigger acute angle. It's opposite the longer leg. And in these 30, 60, 90 triangles, the short leg is the key. The short leg is the connection between the other two sides. So I'm going to say that my short leg is equal to x. And the ratio between the short leg and the long leg is root 3. From short leg to long leg, I would multiply by root 3. So the length of this side would be root 3 times bigger than the short leg. It's x root 3 right now. And then the ratio between the short leg and the hypotenuse is 2. So if I multiply the short leg by 2, we get the hypotenuse at 2x. If I want to figure out how do I go from the hypotenuse to the long leg, I need to figure out what is the length of the short leg, and then I could figure out what the long leg is equal to. So here is what everything is going to be based on. Let's get into a few examples now. Right now it's just a triangle. I'm turning it into a 30, 60, 90 triangle by giving the right angle on there and saying that this angle is 60 degrees. And let's say that this length across the bottom is equal to 5. We want to know what is the length of x and what is the length of y. Because we have this short leg, this problem is going to go pretty quickly, pretty straightforward. From the short leg to get to the long leg, we are going to get bigger, so we multiply by root 3, so x equals 5 root 3. I don't know what square root of 3 is, so I'm going to keep it as that exact answer rather than trying to multiply it out to get an ugly decimal. And then go back to the short leg, and to get to the hypotenuse, then you would multiply by 2. That means that y is equal to 10. If you have the short leg, you can go directly for the long leg, and you can go directly for the hypotenuse. Let's start with something different this time. We're going to look at another 30, 60, 90 triangle. This time we're going to say that the hypotenuse is what we're given, and we'll say the length of that hypotenuse is 16. The hypotenuse isn't the key, so we're going to have to get to that part. I'll call these lengths A and B right now. A is the short leg, B is the long leg, and like the previous problems, we want to get to the short leg. The short leg is the key. So from hypotenuse, we're going to try to get to A. Because we're getting smaller, we're going to divide, and the ratio between short leg and hypotenuse is 2. So if we take 16 divided by 2, we get that A is equal to 8. And now that we know that short leg is 8, we can go from there to the long leg. The ratio between short leg and long leg is root 3. So if we multiply this length by root 3, we get that B is 8 times root 3. So first example, we started with the short leg and we could find the other two. And this one, we started with the hypotenuse. We had to go to the short leg first, and then we could get to that long leg to eventually find both of them. Let's do one more in this set. And in this one, we're going to start with the long leg. So this is going to be our 60-degree angle, and let's say that this length is 15. We're trying to find the length of V and W. So in these problems, you can either be given the short leg, the long leg, or the hypotenuse. If you're given the short leg, that's the easiest to work with. The hypotenuse, not terribly bad. But if you're given the long leg, this definitely requires the most work. We want to figure out what is W, what is V. And the first one that we have to find is V, because V is our short leg, V is the key. So to go from our long leg to our short leg, we are getting smaller. We know that. And the ratio between those two sides is root 3. So V is equal to the length of 15, that long leg, divided by root 3. Now that's the geometry in this problem. We take the long leg, divide by root 3 to get to the short leg. Now algebraically, I don't want that radical in the denominator, so we're going to multiply numerator and denominator by root 3 over root 3. If I want to get that root 3 out of the denominator, that makes the denominator become a regular old 3. There's no more square roots down there. That was my goal in doing this. And the numerator becomes 15 root 3. So V looks a little bit better than it did before. One more step in this one, though. is to simplify those coefficients, divide this by 3, divide that by 3, so v is equal to the square root of 3. So there's one of our answers. There's the short leg. There's the key. There's the most important one. Because now that we know this one, we can find w. To go from the short leg to the hypotenuse, we're getting bigger. We're going to multiply. This time we're multiplying by 2. So if you take this 5 root 3 from the bottom, multiply it by 2, that will give you that w is equal to 10 root 3.